I'd like to introduce you to Yolanda Anderson. Yolanda, thank you so much for joining me here today.
You're welcome.
And Yolanda, what got you motivated to get into legal nurse consulting?
Well, I worked with a girl at one of my jobs. She had gone to your class and she told me about it. She told me a little bit about it. She said, well, you'd probably be good with this class. You're detailed oriented. You should look into this. So I looked up the website, looked into the information, checked on some classes, what I could afford and do. I had 3 kids at the time. So I registered for a Las Vegas class. That was in 2008.
Hard to believe it's that long ago, huh?
Right.
Well, if you could go back to 2008, did you have any fears about getting started? And if yes, how did you overcome those fears?
There's always worry and fears of starting something new and starting your own business, doing your own thing. But I was able to get my business license with my husband had his own business, so he knew how to get a business license, and he set up my website. And we had a friend who did business cards and brochures, so he helped with that. And being with 3 kids, it was hard to manage my time, but I had to organize a little bit and figure out step by step what things I needed to do and what I could do. So I sent out brochures after we got those back.
It's always the busiest people that get the most done, right?
Sometimes, yes.
So, what I kind of heard you saying is that one of the ways you overcame that fear of getting started was actually being resourceful and tapping into people that could actually help you with your business. And I think that's a great strategy. And of course, just getting things done, doing things. Like I always say, the biggest way to overcome a fear is just to do something, right? Because when you start
Sure.
getting into it and you're having fun with it, it's like, oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it would be. Now,
Right.
how did you get that first client, that first attorney?
That first attorney. So after I had taken the Las Vegas class, we were told that it might be a few weeks to get results. So olden day stuff, I don't know if it's sooner now, but it would take up to a few weeks to get
Yeah,
those results
it's
back.
definitely sooner now because now they take it online. That's right.
Oh, okay. So I had waited those weeks and I still hadn't had a chance to look up to see if I passed the test or not. And I got a call from an attorney in town where I live, and she was asking me to review a case. And after we got off the phone, I was trying to think, how did she get my info? Oh, it was through the NACLNC.
Oh,
Oh,
so
I
through the
must have,
directory.
yeah, she did. So I thought, I must have passed the test. So I actually called and said, did I pass the test? Because I'm not a good test taker, but I had passed the test. So that's how she got my information through the directory.
That's great. And so for everybody listening, once you're certified through legalnurse.com, you'll automatically be a member of the National Alliance of Certified Legal Nurse Consultants. And one of the benefits is, as Yolanda's suggesting, being listed in the directory. So that's kind of fun that that's how you got your first attorney client. What kind of cases do you handle?
I handle emergency room because I've been emergency room nurse for more than 35 years. So I do anything from missed myocardial infarctions, stroke, trauma, septic babies, psych. I did an insipidus delivery. So I do a lot, anything that has to do with the ER is what I'm doing. And mostly plaintiff because that's the calls that I get.
Okay.
But I do some probably 20% defense and a rare IME.
Mhm. So again, it's not that you want to do more plaintiff than defense. It's just where the opportunities are presenting.
Correct.
Okay, very good. And I understand, as you said, that you're doing primarily emergency. Do you ever do cases outside of the emergency department?
I've done some car accident type thing. I've done a couple of police type things. I have a case coming up that is related to um, a man getting arrested and they broke his arm while they were putting him in cuffs.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, what kind of care should he have had in jail? They didn't necessarily want a jail nurse, which, I would have given him a referral for that. But they said I could do that. And another guy who was arrested, but he had crashed his car, and they wanted me to decide if this guy had a head injury or if he should have gone to the ER or not. So
Okay.
remote and strange things.
Sure. So again, for people listening, I think this is really good to see that, all right, you can work on medical malpractice cases involving your specialty. Depending on your expertise, you might get involved in criminal cases, you might get involved in personal injury types of cases, such as an auto accident. For example, if you deal with trauma victims, auto accidents are probably cases that you're quite comfortable with. So
Yes.
it's important to know that medical malpractice is not the only area that RNs are involved in. Now, do you have any favorite ways of obtaining attorney clients?
Favorite ways? Well, my favorite way is going to attorney conventions,
Okay.
because being a write-off and being a mini vacation, which it's not so much of a mini vacation. So I try to schedule extra day before or day after just to have the downtime, because you're there for long hours for those conventions or conferences. I send out brochures here and there, and then I also advertise in expert witness directories.
Okay. Do you exhibit at the legal conferences or do you attend and go to sessions?
I exhibit. So
Good
I have
for you.
my own table and swag.
Very good. One of my all-time favorite marketing strategies. It's a great way to get yourself in front of a large amount of attorneys very quickly. And anytime one of the new certified legal nurse consultants tells me they don't know a lot of attorneys, that's one of the areas that I think they can really get up to speed quickly and get to meet people very, very fast. Now, you mentioned that you serve as an expert witness. All right. And again, for RNs listening, you can choose to work with these attorneys strictly behind the scenes, or as Yolanda's doing, you can actually testify on cases. What are some of the personal traits that you believe are really important to your success as an expert witness? I know you mentioned before we started the video that you have 3 cases that are going to be going to trial here soon. So obviously, to be retained by attorneys on 3 cases going to trial, they must think you're pretty good at what you're doing. So tell me, what do you think it takes to be successful?
Well, I hope they think I'm pretty good at what I'm doing, but I do know the ER. So knowing your information is always good. You have to be motivated. So sometimes you're more motivated than other times, but it's interesting work when you're reviewing a case. It's like putting pieces of a puzzle together, figuring out, did they do what they're supposed to do or not? It helps me see what some nurses might be doing wrong, and it helps me to be a better nurse on my own. So I'm also detail oriented. So things I might find in a chart that are like, oh, well, look at this. It'll dawn on me. So I can bring that up to the attorney. What makes it hard sometimes is the attorney might just send you random information when you least expect it. And then I got to keep a list of what they sent and when they sent it. So you actually have to keep track everything that they're sending you and when, because they might ask you in a deposition, but you also need to know when you got it, when it's due for report, or that kind of thing.
Yeah, again, really important. We talk about this in the CLNC certification program, especially as an expert witness. If you've already submitted a report, for an example, or had a deposition, and then after that event, you get more information. Well, now you might have a different opinion on something. So tracking that is very important. All right. So what do you love about your CLNC business?
Well, of course, people like to be their own boss. I do too. I also scream at myself if I miss something. So nobody else knows about it, but I can scream at myself. And then I listen to myself. But it's just nice also knowing I've talked to other CLNCs who do something different. So knowing all the different offshoots that other CLNCs do is really interesting, and it keeps the book open a little bit so I can see what I might want to do next.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Can you give an example of something that another CLNC is doing that you find inspirational or interesting?
Well, there's always working for a specific company, like Doreen, who does the elevator work. She
Yeah.
works a lot with them. Somebody mentioned that working for the state or the board of nursing is another thing. Working for a private attorney is something that you're reviewing multiple different types of cases and doing lots of different types of work to get that case going. So there's so much out there, I can't even mention it all.
Yeah, for sure. And again, it's really inspiring. You know, you were at the conference this year, and in fact, spoke about emergency cases. So thank you very much. And, you know, that's always inspiring to me to see how different CLNCs are using their certification. You know, for example, one of the speakers spoke about healthcare fraud. That's like one tiny aspect of what CLNCs are doing, but that area itself is a huge issue.
Right.
Now, I know you're still working in the emergency department and you're also consulting. What's different about being inside the healthcare system versus working independently with these attorneys?
Well, disciplining your time is a big thing. So you're juggling, when do I work? I work at night. So when do I sleep? When do I take a nap, etc. So it's a hard thing, but you got to figure out when you're able to get things done and keep on your timeline with the attorney.
Okay.
You have to get yourself motivated. And I find that hard to get motivated sometimes just having a day off, but it's like, I got to get this work done. And once you start looking into a case, it's like, well, this is really interesting, and you really don't want to end it. Sometimes you just have to make yourself do what you don't want to do, knowing that another attorney may call you and they have another case coming, and I got to get on that schedule as well.
Right.
So I need to get the stuff done.
Absolutely. It's kind of like going to the gym. You know, some mornings I just don't feel like going, but I always say just getting there, that's success, right? And then once I'm there, it's like, oh, this feels good. And I think getting into your casework's very similar. Some days it's like, oh, I'm not really wanting to do it. But once you get going, like you said, you get into it and you're really having a great time. Yolanda, what's your definition of success?
I have a few definitions of success. One, just getting things done and completing a project. Doing good things, helping somebody out who isn't able to help themselves out. Doing the best thing that I can, feeling good about what I do, helping an attorney solve their mystery, or just getting a compliment from an attorney sometimes is nice to have, and just getting something productive done.
Thank you. That's a fantastic definition, and I wish you more success in your future. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.